As a leader, you can lead from one of the three states: limited, empowered, or embodied. And the higher state of leadership consciousness you actually lead from, that is accessible for you, the better for you, the better for your team, and of course for your business and your own personal life too. Because it's the higher you lead from, you are unlocking leadership with far more ease and joy. And you are unlocking exponential growth and high-performing team in your business with more fun. And you feel much more fulfilled leading from that level yourself. If you are one of those leaders that would like to understand and unpack what does it mean to lead from the highest state that is accessible and possible for you here right now and within you, then this episode is for you, because I'm going to unpack for you what does it mean to lead and live from the highest state that you can access and lead from today. Welcome to Extraordinary Leadership Podcast, a place where bold, visionary, and conscious leaders rise. I'm Dagmara, executive and transformational coach, speaker, and founder of Extraordinary Leadership Movement. Here, we do not just talk about leadership, we redefine it, exploring a new paradigm rooted in aligned energy, powerful presence and impact, and human evolution that allow leaders, businesses, and cultures to thrive. So if you're ready to lead differently and shape the future of leadership and success from the highest place of self, then you are in the right place, because extraordinary leadership comes from within. And so let us rise together. So today we're unpacking leading from the highest state. And as a leader who wants to be your best version and who wants to make a greatest impact and to want to build a legacy, this is going to be an extremely important conversation and episode. In fact, very recently I held a webinar which was dedicated to walk through those three different states and possibilities and operating systems in leadership. And if you would like to get access to that recording, there will be a link below so that you can do that. Especially in this episode, I want to focus on what does it mean? What does it feel? What does it look like to really lead from your greatest potential of self? And, what is the impact that you create from that level? How leadership in life feels from that level? And of course, above all, how do you rise to that level as a leader who, like you, wants to be extraordinary and lead from the highest potential within yourself? And I truly believe this is also the future that we are going to see more coming. There are already leaders operating on leading from that states. And I believe that as we in an era of AI revolution and rapid change, this is where human evolution and consciousness evolution is actually playing at. And this is the field, this is the future that is in our organizations and our lives that we so much need. Now, I came to this whole different levels that are possible within ourselves, within my own journey that I started 10 years ago, walking inside and understanding how the world inside of me create outcomes and the reality and experiences in leadership and life. And quite frankly, for a long time, more than 30 years, I was operating and leading from so-called 3D leadership, which is basically limited leadership. We're still quite a lot of leaders actually operating from. When you lead from that level, you very quickly feel exhausted because you're constantly pushing, proving, and chasing. And you are unaware about, how your inner world really influence everything that you actually do on a daily basis and how you lead, and maybe aware but not having an access on how to become more at ease, more calm in navigating difficult moments, or more trusting yourself, less stressed, less hectic, and more relaxed and more trusting yourself. So this is the phase where I call a paradigm or trap of performance. And this is where we're in constant cycle of doing more and chasing more and proving more, which can be and is at some moment exhausting and not sustainable. And this is when we ask ourselves the question, what else? Do I want to really continue in that cycle? Is there something else? Because yes, you can create a lot of success at that state or from that level, but you also feel this void of emptiness within yourself. And of course, from physical energy, you feel very often tired. And that is why so many leaders start to question that if there is another way, and sometimes come to that questions facing really painful situations in their lives, being fired or being having massive challenges with their teams or having issues in personal relationships, and slowly seeking for a different paradigm of leadership. And it was my case where I faced my challenges in leadership, and that they actually were the gifts that brought me to step and move from this three-dimensional limited leadership to the next level, a next state, which is called empowered leadership. This is where I started my journey inwards and discovering, who I am at the core, what's my purpose, values, essence, as well as understanding how my beliefs, and many of them limiting, shape how I perceive myself, create the pressure, make me feel less confident in some situations or more insecure in some decisions that I needed to take as a leader. And so unpacking that box and knowing how to start to play with it shifted and changed so much for me. It was my gateway, my bridge to a more trusting and empowered leader. And that's why it's called this empowered leadership, where as a leader, I focus on making a meaningful impact and not anymore chasing, KPIs and results and being trapped in certain limitations, but rather much more wiser and much more relaxed and much more grounded, and trusting myself, and the same trusting others so much more. And of course that transpired not only in my relationships with people I led and in the way I was leading, but also in my private relationships and how I felt about myself. So that state is such an empowering state and such an empowering moment for many leaders that step into that. This is the first phase, if you like, for many of my clients to really step into the next version of themselves, much more expanded version of themselves, and of course, much more authentic, because this is where you connect with your authentic self. And from there, you start to tap to your truth, to your inner wisdom, and to resources within yourself, and also to more intuition. And also in that state, you understand the mind mastery and start to master your mind better, and your narratives and negative narratives, and limiting beliefs that shows up. So that's very, very empowering and powerful state. But there is one more state. And personally, I have discovered that state of leadership just 3.5 years ago, where I was transitioning and taking a bold decision to move from corporate to start my business from the place of exhaustion and hectic and doing a lot. I'm going to really much more enjoy that phase, and also create more space for myself, for my private relationships, for other important areas of my life, which already improved, of course, by me evolving in the years before through the limited to empowered state. But I knew there is more possible. And this is where I came to the world of energy, energetic leadership, embodied leadership, which was a huge game changer for me, because it opened a completely different paradigm possible, where smashed many of my beliefs that I held by then on how you create success, how you lead, and how you actually unlock exponential growth or even growth in your business, how you create clients, and how you lead yourself, and how you experience actually days. And this paradigm, this state of leadership is so highly potential, is where you understand that it's not only your beliefs, it's not only your mindset, it's not only your emotions that are really important and driving your outcomes, but it's also energy. And that energy is on one side something that you transpire, you emanate. Either of us has a personal aura, and that's energy that is making people feel in a different way. Also, you understand on that level that you communicate vastly, subconsciously, and through that energy, right? You emanate, energy that is sensed by others. So it's not important which words you choose, which also carry energy, but more important important is how you feel inside. What's your energetic state in this moment? And is that energetic state, that feeling that you have within yourself, conscious or unconscious, that is actually communicating with another human being? And from neuroscience, I also learned that, there are mirror neurons in the brain and they are communicating, right? So it's not only the words, it's really your energy. And the last thing what I've learned, which was mind blowing for me, was the wisdom of quantum physics that I discovered at that level, which is actually confirming what spirituality also said so for so many years, that there is more than just ourselves. And there is this energetic field that surrounds us that quantum physics called a quantum field, a field of infinitive possibilities with which we co-create all the time, consciously or unconsciously. In quantum physics, we call it a quantum field. And actually, I discovered that Stanford released a book which is called Quantum Leadership, which is actually talking about that embodied, energetic leadership, where energy is number one priority, because at that level you discover that you create, and your results, your impact as a leader are massively shaped by that energy. And so in the 5D that I call embodied and energetic state and leadership level, this is where, when you tap into, when you master that level, you are actually experiencing so much ease and flow. Things happen so much easier for you. And you experience synchronicities. All of a sudden, people come to you and opportunities come to you that you didn't even look for, but are part of your vision, part of what you want. And this is like living in a magnetic state. And so the state is really making you feel so much more joyful, so much more blissful, so much more grateful. And you learn so much about yourself being in that state, and you shift the focus in your self leadership, and you shift the focus in how you lead others, and you shift the focus on what you prioritize in your daily basis. And I want to unpack those 5-6 key elements of mastering in that state. So number one, what you prioritize when you are at that level is energy, and precisely energy alignment. You prioritize being aligned with a state, with the best state that you want to be. And on one side, it is being aligned with the vision that you create by then, and being energetically aligned with that vision, knowing that that vision carries energy and is on a certain frequency. Like energy has different frequencies. Current self has a different frequency, and your vision has a different frequency. So number one priority that becomes your daily practice is so-called energetical alignment. So in other words, connecting energetically to that vision and pulling it to now. Because why you want to do it? Because you want to lead, and you want to show up, and you want to live from that future state right now. And because when at that level, and when you do it, you are creating your vision, making it reality much more faster. But also the second, you are going to show up at that version of you that you desire to become more of, your fuller, authentic, and highest expression of yourself. So that energy prioritization and energetic alignment prioritization enables you to start your day and walk through your day and lead from the most aligned state from within. And also from that state to take decisions, bold actions, and craft your strategies, or, lead any of the meeting and conversations, impactful, important, sensitive conversations that you have during your day. And in my programs that are based on embodied practices, there are several practices that, leaders are tapping into to how they can actually energetically connect with that vision, that helps them practically to do that on a daily basis and shorten the time of connecting with that vision, connecting with that version of themselves. So this first important priority is energetic alignment and energy activation. Number two is energy management. So because you know that what actually shape your outcomes is your state, state of being, your energy, who you are right now, you are prioritizing mastering that energy or managing that energy during the day, not only activating it in the morning and setting yourself, in that state of that future self and version of you that already realized that vision, but also you manage that energy during the day, and you manage that energy on several levels. We talk about physical, mental, emotional, social, and spiritual energy. Let's say that spiritual energy is that morning ritual when you connect with your vision and embody that energetically. But the other four that are important, influences in your energy and how you show up and what's your state will be necessary at the same time, right? Will be needed to pay attention to. So that second part is about shifting from time management to energy management. And it is about prioritizing habits that helps you to go through the day and lead and live from this elevated state, physical, mental, and emotional and social energy level. So in practice, it looks like that. You develop habits that keeps you physically in a good shape, right? For example, sleep, eat, and water and physical breaks, right? On a mental level, you want to build habits that keeps your narratives in a positive state, that also you want to develop and master your mind and your mind sabotage. This is where all of my clients get access to positive intelligence and mental fitness, because this is a huge contributor to managing that mental energy, and also instead of wasting time and energy on mental sabotage, lifting it up by taking a driver's seat. But it's also important to look into and create habits on how do you go through emotional lower moments. And again, there are many different habits and practices that we practice in the programs of with my clients. But it goes about how do you shift your negative emotions, lower states that obviously take away your energy and impact and limit your thinking and strategy. How do you elevate that emotional energy during the day whenever it drops? How do you shift it back? And finally, of course, it goes about being very intentional where you need to place boundaries of with who you spend your time, and maybe people in your organization or beyond your organization that drain your energy, and you need to decide who do you want to actually spend the time with, and who lift you up and who doesn't lift you up, and who actually drain your energy, right? Or what activities drain your energy. So it's all different instruments to manage your energy on those 5 different levels. The first level I already mentioned as a first step, but now on this other 4 levels that is important when you are leading from the 5th dimension, from embodied and energetically aligned leadership, where your energy matters. Because again, it matters because when you are leading from the highest energy and aligned with that version of yourself that you want to become more of, and the version of yourself that realize that vision, well, first of all, what happens is that you are much more productive, you are faster, you are more present, things get easier to you, and you are also more energized actually as a leader, which is so important. You bring that energy to your team, and through that you lift others up, and through that you actually make your greatest impact. So it's extremely rewarding to be leading from that highly energetic state, and be able to not only connect and step into the state of your most powerful version of yourself in the morning, but also stay within that energy and lead and live and create new opportunities, shape direction of your theme, develop strategies of it, and create new clients from that embodied state, mastering your energy also during the day. Another important priority on that level is identity. And actually, it is about expanding your identity. And it is about growing your identity. It's about stepping into that identity of that fuller future, higher version of yourself, that version of you that realized the vision already. And this is a very, very important part. And especially, it already happens, of course, when you are in any inner work. You already get to the work on working on your identity of who you are, what you believe about yourself, of who you are. But in a five-dimensional leadership and embodied a level of leadership, this is your priority, because you know that it's your identity that at the core, the belief you hold about yourself of who you are and who you believe you're not, are going to drive your motivation, your level of bold decision, your strategy, and what you actually ultimately go for, and how you show up in as a leader. If your beliefs about yourself are carrying a lot of limitations, limiting beliefs that you are maybe not even aware about, beyond, things like I'm not good enough, or I'm not worthy, or I'm not deserve, which are classic, but many different, I'm not successful leader, or whatever it is for you, there will be many that on this journey of inner work and transformational work from within, that you actually are learning about yourself and letting go of. Because who you are today is massively shaped by the past. And your identity today, who you believe you are, and what you believe you're worthy of, what you believe you deserve, what you believe you can create, what you believe you can envision, how you believe you can lead, all comes from that beliefs about yourself. And from the human evolution and how we evolve as human beings, come to this adulthood with many distorted beliefs about ourselves, many limited beliefs about ourselves, and that result in this 30 leadership, which is limited because we are unaware that we carry them inside of us, and we lead from those limitations inside, being completely unaware that actually we not only create limitations for ourselves, but also for others that we lead. And so when you are in this higher state of leadership, you are uncovering further limitations, and you're actually working not on only breaking through limitations and, letting go of doesn't serve you, but you also work on expanding your identity. And that means also expanding your safety in becoming a bigger version of yourself, comforting your nervous system that might feel a little bit unease with that as well, because that is how you really truly embody that highest version of yourself, that leader who you truly meant to be, that more empowered, bolder, more authentic, more compassionate, more trusting leader that you are meant to be. And that leader that really truly can realize the vision. So that identity work becomes your focus. Now, another thing that is important in this level is about embodied executive presence. Now, executive presence is actually the energy that you radiate. And I already spoke about those two important focus points and practices that at that level obviously bring you to embody that executive presence. Actually, all of them three lead to that. But what I mean by embodied executive presence, authentic executive presence, is also about not only how you are perceived, how do you show up, how people feel about you. It's about knowing that your energy that you transpire is actually making a transformational impact. Is that energy that you transpire that create, for example, a safe space and allow the people to really commit fully and be, onboard fully and show up fully in their work, or create a sense of fear and uncertainty or worry, which is transmitted unconsciously. And so when you know how to master your energy inside and you're more attuned with it, you also are able to embody much and align authentic executive presence. You know how to play with that. You know how to prepare energetically for every meeting that you come. You know how important is being in that embodied state in every meeting, because you know that energy, who you are being at that moment, and make a complete different dynamic in the conversation in your team. And again, it is going to trigger fear, worry, anxiety, and defense mechanisms from your team and resistance from your team, or is going to foster trust and safety and openness. And this is where people become more real. And this is where they are not afraid to say what they really want to say and engage in a meaningful conversation without any hesitation or resistance or being afraid to be judged, for example. And this is an immense important foundation for any high performing team. But also, if you are not having a team, you're leading maybe a business of, and you are having a very small team or not team at all, that is crucial for your clients' creation process, and partners and opportunities is exactly the same. So mastering, embodying that executive presence in the moment and who you are in this moment is what makes the difference. It's what makes an impact. And the last thing, very, very mind blowing for me, was to discover at that level that, everything that you see in front of you, the reality you create, the state of your team, the business results, how people respond to you, what is the dynamic in a team and maybe between clients that you serve. It's all mirror of your inner world. And it's all a feedback helping you to see where you need to shift inside on an energetic level. And that is so, so powerful, because knowing that, you much more faster know where you need to work on. You know that, for example, if people are resisting maybe to buy into your vision, or there is a lot of objections going on in the team, for example, the most powerful question that you need to ask yourself in this moment is, where am I resisting? In which area of my life I am actually also resisting currently? And when you go and solve that resistance first within yourself, you shift your energy and you transpire different energy, and you see how the results shift, how the team respond differently to you. I had it so many times. And so whenever, I see that something is not working in my business or in my programs or with my clients, whatever it is, I first ask myself this question, where I need to shift, because I see that as a mirror of my inner world. My reality is just a projection of my world inside. And the same is at home, right? If I see that, for example, my husband is triggered or judgmental, well, it goes back to me, because I know I am triggering that as well. So it goes back to me, where am I judgmental for myself? This is super, super powerful lens and wisdom, and all of you as a leader to faster find where to shift. And then, of course, when you have access to all those ways of shifting, it just elevate your leadership exponentially. And so you can transform yourself and your organization so much more faster. You can bring the team dynamic to high performing so much faster, because you don't waste your time on things that do not move the needle, but you focus on this that matters the most, which starts within yourself, within your energy. And that is what is making a transformational impact. Now, I want to talk about two last important things that kind of round up the picture of what does it mean to lead on that level. One is about communication, and it is about mastery of emotions and energy of the communication. I mentioned that before already, that your communication happens vastly subconsciously. So it's not the words you choose, and they also carry energy, so words matter, but vastly your communication is from within, is subconscious, is between the words, is through the energy that you transpire. And so the mastery of communication is to, first of all, understand that. And second, of course, be in that aligned state, master your energetic state to show up in your greatest energy and at ease, with peace, grounded, calm within yourself when you go to any meetings, especially those that are a little bit more challenging for you. And another thing that we master on that level is also understanding the emotional dynamic that is happening in every conversation. And that goes back to understanding that we communicate subconsciously, and our neurons are picking up in the brain the signals. Again, we send a signal of danger for another person, right? A threat subconsciously, or safety and trust. And that is completely bringing a different dynamic in a conversation and different response. So mastery of communication is mastery of energy and is mastery of emotional dynamic in the conversation, which again goes back to mastery of yourself, mastery of your emotions in the moment, mastering and being aware that actually that what is happening between the lines in the meeting with other people where you see it, and knowing how to shift, how to tap to maybe more grounded state, neutralize your emotional trigger that might appear in the moment, and how to pause and actually shift in the moment, in the conversation, in that meeting, so that you can shift the whole conversation in the room to where you want it originally to be. In other words, send a different signal to the brains of people that are sitting there and shift the dynamic and energy of the conversation. So that's really what mastery of communication in leadership actually goes about. And of course, that's also where empowering question comes, listening actively comes, being present comes, and noticing what is not only being said, but what is being showed, what is sensed as well. Energy can be sensed, right? And transpired by body language. And the final one, it's about imagination and tapping to resources that helps you to be more intuitive in your decisions, in leading, in navigating complex situations, in bringing more ease and flow in leadership. So you see, you have such an immense power and muscle within yourself to tap to resources that are beyond logical mind. They are actually resources that are available for you. That's part of your wisdom, inner wisdom. That's part for your higher self. That's part of your higher mind, whichever you want to call it, that's already existing within you. And when you know how to unlock that resources within yourself, you start to tap into your intuition and your compassion and your boldness. You activate also ease and flow in everything that you do. And that starts with imagination and training that muscle of imagination, which is harnessed by visionary leaders, because your brain do not distinguish the difference between what you imagine and what is real. So you can tap to that power that is lying within yourself. And when you do, you start to not only tap to what's possible for yourself, to your higher potential, and what's possible for your organization, for your team, for the business. You start to create strategy from that level. You start to show up from that level of what's possible, what's in your imagination. You start to treat that imagination and intuition that you connect within, by the way, as your compass, as your guidance along the way. And is very, very wise and resourceful beyond your logical mind. And it helps you actually to solve complex challenges, tapping to that imagination, tapping to your intuition, to your resources from within. It helps you to navigate leadership with so much more ease. And this is what you need, because complexity in leadership is evolving. So as a leader, the sooner you tap into your inner resources, wisdom, and harness on the imagination power within yourself, the sooner you're going to step into leading with more ease, more joy, be more visionary, be more bold, and inspire people, activate people, and bind people, bring people along the journey actually with you. Because you will start to notice that you show up differently, you think differently, and you also take a different decisions from that state, not from your current state, but from that vision that is actually calling you in and is meant for you. You know, in that state, one of the important thing I needed to realize when I came to that level was to understand that actually everything that comes as a vision, as an idea, as a desire, as something that feels expensive, is not just a nice dream. Is something that is meant for me, is something that I'm being called to bring into the life, into the fruition. And it's something that I deserve. It's something that I'm worthy of. It's something that I'm here for in realizing by stepping into that vision, by embodying that version of myself that is able to realize that, by mastering my energetic alignment, by connecting energetically with that vision, and be guided by the inner intuition and wisdom that is my inner compass in navigating that path. And that is how personally I walk this path of entrepreneurship that I stepped into 3.5 years ago. I wished I knew all of that much sooner when I was still in a corporate world. And this is also the path that I am accompanying leaders, executives, CEOs, founders into tapping into and leading from. This is the journey leading from your highest and greatest potential, is the journey of expansion, is the journey of transformation, is this journey of rising, right? Elevating yourself and stepping into that bolder, more authentic, more empowered, more embodied, more aligned version of yourself that is already within you. You're not going to change you. You're not changing along that journey. You're expanding, you're reconnecting, and you're coming home. Many times I feel that it's like coming home, and clients also feel that way. And I can tell you that the excitement to be on the journey of whichever level you operate from now and lead from now, from 3D or 4D, to stepping into leading from that level of self, that level of potential, is magnetic, is expansive, is extraordinary, is exciting. And it gives you so much more joy and so much more ease in creating that. That is why, as well, when you are leading on that level and in so-called energetic resonance within yourself and within the vision that you are bringing to this world, this is how you create, aligned clients and partners and unlock exponential growth. So you can feel how excited I am about that level. Obviously, it is my mission and my commitment and absolute passion to not only, master that level and be supported by other powerful coaches that walk that path, but also to bring any leader to lead from that space and to enjoy life, enjoy leadership, and be more fulfilled and more successful and more impactful as a leader. So this is how leading and living from that state look like. And as you probably guessed along the journey, the path to it is very simple. Is choosing a guide that can help you to embark on this journey, that can help you to be your guide into rising from within, to tap to your highest level of potential and to lead from embodied energetic leadership. Because in the journey, you will need that guide. Tapping into the highest level of yourself, it's impossible on your own. Because you see, wherever you are today, you operate in your box, in your bubble, in your current identity, in your current subconscious belief systems, in your current self. And there's no way you can see your limitations, no way you can actually even know how to tap to the next level, because you are unequipped and blinded. That's how I was. And that is why also I choose to constantly support myself with coaches and masterminds of like-minded leaders and coaches that are mastering that level of leadership, because I know that I sometimes need to be reminded and see what I can't see, my blind spots, right? And obviously shift my thinking, shift my energy. And if that calls you in to be supporting this journey by me, then please check out my website. We are actually launching Executive Transformation Accelerator, which is an embodiment journey of extraordinary leadership. And if that calls you in, then this is the right moment to say yes and get on a call with me, find out if this is exactly for you a space, and hopefully embark on it as well for you, so that you can elevate and lead from that place and transform your life, your leadership, your team, your business, and also make a positive ripple effect in your family and your friends, not only within your organization, because truly that is where leadership is paving towards to. This is a future of leadership. This is a future of humanity. This is a future of us as human beings. And this is where we all can contribute by rising from within and becoming truly our authentic highest selves and leading from that embodied energetic leadership. Thank you for joining me today in this episode of Extraordinary Leadership Podcast. Remember, true leadership isn't about doing more. It's about becoming and being more. And if this conversation sparked something within you, I invite you to honor it. Share this with another visionary leader who is ready to rise. And follow me for more conversations that elevate who you are and how you lead. And together, shape a future of leadership. And until next time, stay extraordinary.